be there with you. We have a long, long show, so we are cut and paste and go. Come. Yes, and living in easy. So him say, prophecy. And it seems that we have a whole heap of people that read the Caucasian book called the Bible and mentally feel that they've ascertained that all the tribulation that we, the children of the slave, have been through was prophesied. Second, they are also saying that it wasn't just foretold, but the peoples, our ancestors that was captured on the continent and brought to the Western world, the North and South and Caribbean and everything, and brutalized for so many years, hundreds of years, that they have depicted we were Jews. I don't know where they get this word from. This is another word that scorches the brains. You know, this Jesus and this Jew. I mean, when was this J arrive? Some of our people seem, even our historians, and then it's made to fit something, and no one is saying scientifically or otherwise, explain how you fit that there, how you link that there, just like this Emmanuel that's meant to be God with us. I mean, these are all of these things. You understand? So the annuals across the earth and our ancestors across the earth whose faith was Islam have scribed and written so much proclaiming themselves. And they weren't saying, yo, you know what, my name over here is Abdullah. No, they weren't doing that. They're remembering Al-Quran, Kitab Allah. So they wrote many verses of the Quran, and many of them were Hafiz of the Quran. And this is all over this slave hemisphere. Diaspora, Caribbean, North and South America, up to the Brazils. And research and finds historical evidence and factual evidence have been there. But what's also alarming is that the Europeans scribe what them call a Bible that was meant for Negroes or black people, slaves. That needs to be examined carefully, not the book, the thought process that went into that. And why was that necessary by them to do such a thing? And it would also indicate that many of our scholars are archaeologists, researchers, historians throughout the years know these things. These is where debates, these are where symposiums, that's the area. Academia, this is where we should have been at with these people. Now they're throwing another rag doll and a bone. Because that's what these Americans been doing for decades. And it stimulates some of us. And now we'll run this thing again about Jew and Hebrew. And we were the original people. And they don't know, to me, they don't know what Jew, hey yo, you see this thing? First, give me the definition of the 12 tribe. Just give me the definition of the 12 tribe, and then we can move. If that definition is not satisfactory, then we should just pause there, leave it, and move on to the fact that we're finding ourselves after so many hundreds of years in the white man land under his rules and regulation in his education. And we have survived so much trauma. But then to get to a standard where they can see our growth and we're not seeing ours, and then we're going to jump because this is what the Americans do. This is what the white Americans and their cousins and their friends and their brothers, Europeans, this is what they do. Throw us this rag doll and this bone. And sometimes they spend money. Not even sometimes, most time. They recruit people, train them, and spend money. How much people remember Imam Isa, otherwise known as Dr. York? That man, our brothers and sisters trained him. He had a great design aspiration for Al-Islam. And he came out and create a following called the Ansar Allah. But then him switch. And while he was doing that, another set of people come masquerading as Muslims beside the Nation of Islam, other people. Many of them, they are jailed right now, the so-called leadership. But in their start, they developed so many things, but they couldn't leave their street life. They couldn't leave it. And even if they did, the FBI, CIA, whatever agency, make sure that pass tarnished them. And then you have some real evil ones, all kind of thing. But Isa, Dr. Z York and everything that him call himself little more, he was interfered with by people from this side of the world, England, backed by people from Arabia. And that was unfortunate, and that was sad. That was very sad. But we weren't at the level of reading and understanding to aid and support him. Those of us who understood. And then he let himself down and let us down because he changed. And then him start spewing out that was just, Islam was just one of the schools. Now I'm going to take them to the real school. Nawapian and Nawapu and Re and Te. But this man bring this old Hebrew thing to the surface, a him. That time, nobody not deal with him, you know. Because him left the Islam and him gone with this Hebrew thing. And he's showing Africa. Him not show exploitation of another set of people. He was showing Africa. And he was showing the language. That's one of the things, the linguistics. But the Africans, Americans, either the confusions and everything, and it seemed a lot, it would appear that people never take him serious. Because remember, him kept changing. The longest thing there was his musical genre, passion. And the second longest was Ansarallah, and that was well educational. Because he and many of his followers learnt Arabic, and he learnt it and was able to write it too. Ansar Allah. The Ansars. He changed and come with this new thing. Him start talk about Egypt, Kemet. But you see, him had a way of making believe that it sound like he was there. And then the whole of Harlem, whole of the States, whole of a generation, several generations, hook line to that. Even though they knew that this man was a Muslim, what they call Orthodox Muslim, but he made it clear to them that what he was doing then was one school. And now he's graduated. Now they are graduated and he's graduated, and he's going to take them to the next school. And the people bought into it. Because his oratorial skills and his persuasion. Plus he was organized. And they had independent feeding. Weren't outsourcing, trying to get funds and things from out some other places. I'm saying all of that to say that the disturbance has shown up again, not from him, but from other sources. And they're coming. And the costumes. That's the next thing with some of our people in them. Love costuming. You can chat till thy kingdom coming, but once you come with some costume, you hook, line, and sink everybody. The costume come like a bait. So these people know that it has arrived. They're not just a talk. They have arrived with the technology, the media platforms and everything. They impress peoples to make people believe, say, yo, the people them who put this Bible out there, they don't know nothing about the contents of the Bible. Them know it. Unfortunately, no one is saying, where's the fruit? It's a strange thing about being influenced. It's a strange thing. Because your nerves get the better of you and you get so excited. And the things that you've been doing all along to maintain yourself, and if you have a family, direct family, you're doing. It's just that you have this mental fascination. And if the orators or the organization is consistent, it holds you until one day you hit your toe. And then think like, wait a minute, what just happened? And you look around you, you see that everything that you're doing is what you've been doing all along, independently of others. The fascination that you've received hasn't granted you no favors. And whether you're trying to get to heaven on earth, you cannot see any glimpse, any changes of anything. That's why I go after pastor them to say, yo, hear what? You're not a pastor. You're a fisherman or you're a shepherd. Do justice by the people. Well, you know. Other than that, don't bother. We see some people them behave, they project to us that they don't have a conscience. And we know they have a conscience. And we ourselves think that their conscience less or their conscience free. It doesn't work like that. It's not a nasty conscience and a good conscience. It's a conscience. It's like a record. It's like a tape. It's like this hard drive thing. Once information is put on it, you can't take it off. And the information that's put on your conscience is once you're alive, whatever you do, whether you sleep all day and night, it did there. Whatever you do is on that, is in that thing called the conscience. And you can't not, no human, no living human can erase that. None. And similarly, this hard drive, find somebody that can erase the hard drive. And you make, you will control the earth. You control this world. Because it's not happening. Even that frightens the elect. Even that computer, something there, it frightened them. And don't you know all the big top men, them people, men and women, both the world, when them do something, the people them come quick forget them hard drive. Them come quick to get them hard drive. You think it's just a movie? It's just the movie that make it seem that this is one factor within the picture. It's a real thing. You can mash up the variety computer as much as you want. That hard drive, it reveals everything. And it shows up everything. You see how them say them have the thing called a black box on the airplane. See it there? And that's a mechanical conscience. So we want to take you down memory lane and show you the wisdom of us as a people. And why I am saying that in England here, we have the potential and the capability to develop an infrastructure right here. And we have the educational resources right here. And we have the true potential and capability right here. So if we not did that, and then we reflect on what our brothers, our cousins, our nephews been doing in America and where things hasn't gone. Because there's no Martin, there's no Malcolm, there's no Elijah. Huh? A lot of other people, there's no Vernon Johns. Everything that those great people have done has been suppressed and changed and configured, reconfigured. Not by us. We have enemies. People who know our true potential, because them see that we survive. We survive among them and we climb their own ladders. That's why them just love us for plain amusement. You got to try and get this. And don't scorn it because I'm saying it from an Islamic perspective. And if you but knew, the Islamic perspective is the God Almighty for all of us. Not some of us, all of us human beings. Everything that exists, that's the God. That's what you all call God. We say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See? So if you try to just diss it because you say, them is a Muslim, it's joking. You're not trying to examine reality. And you're not trying to determine a reality. You're just perhaps following some massives without making inquiries. And then you still think that science and scientists is the holy grail. Are you mad? Science is our curiosity, didn't you know? Oh my God. Hey, go get your dictionaries them, you know, because we are going straight into the archives of our wisdom, the African black diasporan people. And this is going right back to try and free our brethren, that these people want to bend down on them knee, cry blood, and all kind of something. And if we don't take this thing serious enough, this is victims, which is us, of the white man society. Because if we not buck up and get this thing straight, all of us is in trouble. Every one of us is in trouble. Because they're going to ask us, what is our faith, what we believe in, and how we see this and that. And that's going to determine whether they allow us or not. Or if they hinder us on, yo, check it, man. You think that's scaremongering or real talk? Come.
So consequently, you see our people, we are like Pavlovian dogs, and we have to face it, where we let another people associate through music and through this and through that, various symbols, such that all they have to do is hold them up and manipulate us, and that which they have created inside of us responds to these symbols, and we cannot escape their influence. So consequently, we cannot exercise voluntary control over our emotions and over our behavior. And there are so many ways you can hypnotize people. One of the ways, of course, you can hypnotize them is through authority. Right? Yeah, you read hypnotism books and they tell you just, some people you can hypnotize just by literally commanding them. If they respect your authority enough, they'll just go into a hypnotic trance. That's what I tell my people in my class all the time. I tell you something, you don't want to half believe it. White man came in here and told you, you take it all in. The very people who lied to you most are the people you're the quickest to believe. Hypnotism. In fact, you won't believe it until what? Until they say it. Until you see some proof or some white authority. Therefore, white skin itself becomes a symbol of authority in and of itself. An individual responds to it unconsciously and consciously. And therefore, anything connected with them gains the authority as well. So one of your colleagues go to a white college. You ready to believe it? You went to a black college? Well, I think about what you have to say. You got a degree from Harvard? Oh, well, all right, come in here and tell us anything you want to tell us. You know? And therefore, the things that are connected, we respond to them. This is what we call in psychology generalization, right? You learn one thing, and if it's similar or related to that which you learn, mistake of getting angry and resentful in dealing with the European. Because it is through anger and resentment that the personality is implanted into you as a people. It is through losing control over your mind and responding senselessly that the devil is placed into you as a person yourself. It is through anger and resentment that you become like the person that you're angry with and resent. Somebody called you a fool. Who? I'm not a fool. You demonstrated right away. I made you into one right off. And so and now when they get you, now many of us as people are filled with anger. We're filled with rage, hurt, fear, and anxiety. And that becomes a chronic part of our nature, which is one of the reasons why we suffer so much from the physical ills that we do. And we are susceptible to the kind of diseases that we're susceptible to. And yet having this anger and fear and resentment in us, that anger, fear, and resentment blinds us also to reality. Makes us see the world in a distorted fashion. Plus it becomes a handle by which the other people can manipulate us into doing and saying things when if we had a cooler mind we would not have done or said. And I'll speak more to this a little later on about how this anger and resentment, it makes you reject things and refuse to deal with things that should be dealt with. It makes you see the world backwards and see it wrong. And therefore, one of the things you do if you want to work somebody's mind often is to make them angry first. See? And then work them through their anger. Watch me say this and watch him go off. you know, we do this in our personal relations. You get to know your woman or your man well, and you know where you can touch their nerves. And you just touch nerves all day and night, touching nerves and watching them jump and bounce like a baby doll. Oh, string them. And therefore, even though our anger is justified as a people and the kind of experiences we've been through certainly have been scarring ones, we must still bring them under our control and not let them be under the control of another people because they're going to manipulate them and use them to their advantage time in and time again. It means then that these symbols must be looked at very closely for what they're worth and for the function that they serve. Why were the whites, both liberals and conservatives, frightened by the Muslims? Why was the Nation of Islam, particularly under Elijah Muhammad, such a frightening thing to these people? One of the reasons, of course, is the fact that this was not a NAACP number or an Urban League number that left what? The European symbols unmolested, you see, and left the whole conditioning system that they placed around us untouched. The nation under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad threatened to replace what? The very symbols themselves. The very conditioning cues themselves were to be restructured, such that then the old symbols that were used to manipulate us would no longer be used and could no longer be to function in holding us under the control of the European. This is why when we talk about creating changes in our people, we must talk about then the presentation of a total system, not just a jobs program, not just a housing program or this program. You must offer, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did, a total program that involved housing, religion, education, economics, the total thing, and all of those things wrapped in new symbols and new means to which the people can respond, such that then the older system loses its control and power over the personality of the individuals. You see then, because as long as you respond to the old systems, the white liberal as well as the white conservative uses those symbols to manipulate our personality to what they want, to get us to do what they would like for us to do. The next thing that's indicated here in terms of the so-called normal and abnormal individual, self-esteem and self-acceptance. Well-adjusted people have some appreciation of their own self-worth. Very interesting. Of their own self-worth. Means that they have a way of measuring themselves that is to a degree independent of the way other people measure themselves. They have a sense of their worth that does not necessarily depend upon what other people say and do in relationship to them. They then see themselves as having an importance and worth, and see themselves as being acceptable even when other people may be telling them otherwise. We look at our situation today. Our leadership is one that does not base the self-esteem of black people upon the values and ethics of African people themselves. This is a major problem that we have. You know, it's sort of like women in the old sense of the word, before women's liberation came along. I am nothing until I get a man. I am nothing until I, what? Get a husband. Until I can, what? Take his name. I can become identified with them. I am not important until I am some way made important through marriage or through identification. It's interesting to note then how much modern so-called black leadership operates with that same thing in mind, with that same approach. I will be nothing until the white man loves me, until the white man accepts me. To a good extent, assimilationism is a form of marriage. We won't be happy and love ourselves until we hook these people into us, until we seduce them to love us. We know that a part of the foundation of the so-called integration movement was not education of black children, because we know 2 + 2 is 4 anywhere in the world. This 2 + 2 is 4 in Harlem. You don't have to go to Long Island to learn that. You don't have to go into a white school to learn 2 + 2 is 4. What kind of stupidness is it that tells us that somehow we cannot learn what needs to be learned unless we're sitting next to a white child? Aren't words just words? Aren't these, can't we teach our children what they need to learn wherever they are? But somehow we got an educational leadership, or we got a leadership that says somehow our learning is impaired unless we are sitting with whites. But actually, when we study the history very carefully, we note that the real point of the integration of schools was not that of education of black children, but that of getting black children to love themselves by getting white children to love them. And you remember the old Kenneth Clark experiments, right? The black dolls and the white dolls, and how the the black children supposedly didn't want to accept the black dolls, and some of them would fall out crying because they saw the black dolls and they wanted the white dolls. You know, they went through this whole thing, and the Supreme Court decision was somehow related to this, indicating then that because these children were not accepted and loved, and they were made to think that blackness was a terrible thing, they needed then the love of little white children so that they could get around to themselves. That they were in a sense nothing until they could identify and become one with white people. And consequently then the motivation was to marry these people and to identify with them. And what happens when you marry these people and do this? Often the thing happened that happened to many women when they used to operate on this premise. If your status is gained by marriage and not by what you do for yourself, then your energies will be put into seduction. So the woman could spend all of her day combing her hair and fixing up her body, because this was her tool for getting that man who was going to make her something. She could spend all of her energy shopping and all of her time making sure that her bodily features and so forth were right to seduce a man in one fashion or another. When she engaged in this often, it meant that she ignored many other aspects of her personality. In a sense, she even made herself dumb, because many of the men she dealt with didn't like smart women. So either she refused to learn because she figured that would get in her way, or she had to act dumb in front of them because she didn't want to insult them. And she found that being smart was a liability. And by being smart, she looked like she was trying to be a man, like me. You see? And so consequently, often she had to hide and repress many of the other aspects of her personality and leave many areas of her life undeveloped in order to gain acceptance by the so-called men. And when you look at our people, you see this kind of thing with the kind of leadership. If we can identify with the whiteys, like a woman, we can, you know, it says what? In the old days, a woman got the status of a husband, right? So she didn't have to do anything but what? Marry the guy. So if he was what? Big time, she was big time because she was his wife. Even though she might not have what? Done anything herself. And many of our people are like that. If we can marry this white man, if we can become identified with this white man, and therefore we will become Mrs. America, and therefore we can identify with all of the accomplishments of America, not ourselves, not with something that what? We've done on our own, not with developing our own independent power and personality, but by identifying with these people, we can literally then steal their prestige and their power and become one with them, and therefore neglect our own self-development. So many of the assimilationists then are trying the shortcut to prestige, that is through marriage of the European, and through identifying the European, and through seduction like a woman. And yet, like many women, what is going to happen? If that man decides to leave you one day, and there you sit, no job skills, don't even know how to write a checkbook, don't even know where to pay the bill, because he was so nice to me. He took care of everything. He didn't let me worry about nothing. And now you got 10 children and you don't know how to do a thing. Gone. This is why even if we got to live in greatest peace and harmony with this white man, if we as a people, though, have not developed our own potentials and our own power, when this man decides to divorce us, and sometimes in the future, we'll find that we are in worse shape than when we really started. So the point is not to become one and to unify with this white man. The point is to develop our own potential as a people and to develop our own power so that when he decides to walk out on us, we can say, go ahead, hit the road, Jack. And we can go on and deal with it. But our people are made weak by these feminist kinds of leaders that we have today, who are not concerned with the development of true black power and independence, but are concerned with taking the last name of another people and becoming identified with that other people. A person who has no self-esteem is a person who has no self-confidence, who's frightened of being alone. Many of us are frightened today. What would happen if the white man left us? We would go into the dark ages because we don't think we can invent all these little stereos and all of these other little things that these white folk and the Japanese invent. And so if they weren't in the world, we would really be in bad shape, wouldn't we? We'd have to sit around the campfire and tell each other stories. So then we have to keep them around because we feel that without them, we could not organize and run a world. This is the way we've been made to feel. Much like a woman who feels that without her man, I am nothing. Without you, I'm nobody. Without you, life has no meaning. How can I go on without you? You know, that's that sick love that's projected into our people through this music and this record. Sick, sick love. Very ill kind of love. Big, grown, and resting. You can't live without somebody. Take my heart, here it is. Don't treat me bad. Okay. You are a grown person. You're not a babe in arms, even though you like to say it, rock me, baby. You know. Talk, little baby, talk to me. You know, I'm not against having a nice little time. I love making love. It's wonderful. But then, what I'm trying to get at here is that often people get into a very infantile state of mind when they fall in love. They give up control of themselves. They give up self-responsibility as such. They give up self-definition. They give up their feeling of importance to the other person. So therefore, I won't feel important unless you tell me I feel important. Make me feel important. Tell me you love me. Or else I won't feel right. And this is the way many of our people are. I'm going to make you love me. Yeah, you know, we let some of our leaders like that. I'm going to bug you and worry you until you love me. And many of us feel that we need these other people's love so that we can love ourselves. And therefore we have, and this is why you find many women catching the hell they do with a lot of men. Because they feel even though that man is kicking their butts, and even though the man is abusing them, it's a choice between the lesser of two evils. It would be better than them being by themselves. That somehow they'd be in worse shape than if they were by themselves than being with them. So therefore they have to put up with this abuse. And if they feel that they are nothing without this man, then they have to stay with him to feel something even though he's mistreating them. You see? And there's a person who has no real feeling and no real self-esteem and self-acceptance. And many of our people are in the same situation. We feel we will not be complete until these people love us, until they accept us. And therefore we are willing to put up with their abuse. because we feel we'd be worse off without them. If they left us, then all of this good jazz, this good old stereo music would be gone, because we don't know how to make TVs, do we? All these cars would be gone, and all this other stuff would be gone, because the only thing we know about Africans is that they produce these things. They produce huts and this and that. So I don't want to live in no hut. I don't want to go back in no jungle. So the only thing, so we need these people. We know they treat us mean. We know they, they degrade us sometimes. But hey, it would be worse off if they weren't around, because niggas can't run nothing, I hate to be in a world where there's all black people. And therefore we put up and we take the abuse. And our only hope then becomes one of trying to convert these people. You see, it's like the woman says, he's nice when he ain't drunk. He's so sweet and loving when he ain't got that alcohol. So what if she sit around waiting for him to stop drinking? So and by the time he stopped drinking, he's beat her to death. You see? And this is the way we get it. By the time this white man learns to love you, you'll be dead. He's beat it all out of you. Wouldn't be worth loving after that anyway. I'm telling you. Yeah. Oh, we can see. Yeah, she sees how nice he could be. And this is the thing we get caught on. We see how nice it could be if they would love us, instead of facing the reality that they don't, and facing the possibility of what? That they never will. And dealing with it. And operating on that basis, instead of living in hopeless hope, year in and year out. And this is the way we are caught up. We hope someday this drunken fool of a man, these sick people, are going to somehow get out of their sickness. And like a weak woman, here you are weak and thinking you're going to transform this man. The worst mistake men and women make is to think that they're going to change some man. With enough love, with enough understanding, doesn't happen. It rarely happens, ladies and gentlemen. And here you are, weak people here, and you think you're going to love with enough love and prayer before capital steps, and laying down your lives in the army, and doing all these sacrificial things that you do. Somehow, that this person is going to see the real you. But you don't recognize, ladies and gentlemen, that this person depends on you being wrong. Don't you understand that? You see the woman, she's being mistreated by the man. And what does she say? Well, what's wrong with me? Yeah, she sees her what? Herself as the problem. What's wrong with me? And then now she won't say, well, what? What's wrong with you? You must be sick or crazy. You don't know what good thing you got here. Then what does she do? Well, you say I'm too fat. She takes her weight off. You say my hair is too nappy, then she straightens it up. You say that I don't dress, she puts on a new dress. And what? Every time she makes a step, what happens? It's something else. It's something else. And you know this feeling, black people, because you've been through it, haven't you? What did they tell you about 20 years ago? If you'll only get education. And your parents told you, just get that education. And you went out and busted your brain and got the education. And you found out again there was another thing going. Each time you make a move, there's a new demand. You can never get right. Because, ladies and gentlemen, so many people's own ego depends on other people always being what? Wrong. And when their ego and self-perception and their way of life his self depends on you being wrong, they are never going to let you be right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference what you do. And when you look at the European and the way the European lives upon the backs of our people, and the way the European consumes and eats up the world's resources, and the European style of life, you must recognize then that that style of life depends upon you never being right. And you're never going to be enough and do enough to be accepted by these people, because their very life depends upon you being wrong. You have to recognize that and face it. Then you will start taking the abuse that is laid upon you by these people and get control of yourself. But when your self-acceptance depends upon their acceptance of you, what will happen if they never accept you as a person? When now you've spent all your time and energy trying to be accepted instead of developing yourself, instead of building up your own potentials, instead of becoming independent of these people, instead of becoming self-defining. When, no matter what you do, ladies and gentlemen, you can jerry your curls all night long, you are not going to be white. I'm telling you. You can three-piece it. You can three-piece it all you want to. You can get your sophisticated language all you want to. You can read all the Shakespeare you want to read. You can keep up with Time magazine. You can read Wall Street Journal. You can do all the things you think they tell you you should do. And you're going to find out you are still just a nigga in the end. Because his world depends upon you being so. And you're going to find out then, while you're getting all of this, you're going to leave so many other things undeveloped. So much power. And you have the power, ladies and gentlemen. You have the power. It is the European who is dependent, not the African. It is the European who is poor, not the African. One brother mentioned something one day I thought was very interesting when one young lady was talking to him, talking about how poor we were. And he says, can you exploit poor people? Can you take something from poor people? If you're really poor, can you really take something from them? Why is it that other people, Koreans and others, somehow can seem to get something out of these poor black people? How is it that the Europeans can get all of this wealth out of the poor black nations? How is it that the Japanese who live on a rock in the middle of the sea can be wealthy while these poor black nations are starving to death? It is the European that is dependent upon our people. Why is there a struggle in South Africa today? Because Southern Africa represents, as someone described it, the Gold Coast of the minerals that are needed by the Europeans to survive as a nation and as a people. There are minerals and metals and so forth in the southern regions of Africa for which this nation and other European nations cannot live without, ladies and gentlemen. The space age would not be even possible without those metals. If those metals were not gotten into this country, it was stated that we would reverse our living conditions some 50 years or more. There are metals which Southern Africa produces almost 100% of. And about the only other European-controlled nation that has those minerals and metals is Russia. And yet we are told that we are dependent as a people. This black people in this United States are called poor people. And yet we know that if you look at the wealth of black people in this country, we're about the 9th or 10th richest nation, but we refuse to think of ourselves as a nation. And we refuse to act as a nation. That is the poverty, not the lack of money. A people who spend 5 cents out of every dollar for their own people and give 95 cents out of every dollar to another people are not a poor people. And they make other people rich. In the so-called ghetto of Harlem, if you would stop and think, you must recognize that there are billions of dollars passed through that ghetto, day in and day out. Billions. Just think about the absentee landlords who soak up your money. The store owners, the teachers that teach in your neighborhood, the policemen, the other people, thousands and thousands and millions of dollars being earned and worked right through your fingers. And you're saying you're poor people. See, a lack of definition. So consequently, when you define yourself in terms of another people's standards, you will always come up lacking in something and come up deviant. And it is a pitiful kind of thing, because what you see happening in Harlem has happened the world over. You go in parts of Africa, and what are you going to see running the stores? Indians, Muslims, and whatever other number, except African people themselves. Which means the game that is run on the African mind is being run the world over. And yet these are supposed to be poor people. And yet other people are getting rich, working them from one end to the other.
Concentrate on getting a weekly pay instead of begging every day. Father gave us every little thing to make us try and help ourselves. And he said he'd help those who try to help themselves. So if you want to be in that situation, change your evil ways and join this congregation, and maybe you'll soon be living like the king that sitteth on his throne. If happiness is far away, it will show up someday. Shit, man, we rob the street at night, fuss and fight. We don't have no respect for a black brother. We are afraid of revolution, man. Why we are afraid of revolution, man? Why we are afraid of revolution? Black man, come here fi be a tribulation. Black man, come here fi fight liberation. Time for we have a revolution. Man said a time for we have a revolution. For Babylon, them a keep up corruption. Oh, them a whole natty dread in a detention. Say them a shoot up Jaja children, it no mention. Said every day we get up and we grumble. Man, every day we get up and we humble. We too soft.
change has come, we must have some fun. Now that the change has come, we must have some fun.
Eye-openers that I want to share with you today. And I've already shared a few, but just a few more. Farad, I believe, had good intentions, but I believe he himself was misguided, and perhaps by the religious group that he was born of or born in. And I know for a fact that Farad himself repented his works, repented what he had done, and made an effort himself to bring about the end of his own works that were in contradiction or were in opposition to the true religion Islam. I know this for a fact. I know this for a fact. So you say, well, how do you know that? Have you seen Farad? Yes. Have you seen him in your life? Yes. Have you talked with him in your life? Yes. Did he tell you he was Farad? No. And you still say you know he was Farad? Yes. And he wanted me to know he was Farad, but he wouldn't say it with his mouth, because he didn't want to be put in a situation to have to answer all of my questions and be exposed to all of my rage. And I thought he was very wise to never say to me he was Farad. And he passed away, and he's gone. And may Allah forgive him his sins and grant him paradise, because his intentions were good. And he did repent while he was yet living. If he repented to God, he repented, didn't he? He doesn't have to repent to all of us. He repented to God, and I'm a witness that he repented. I'll tell you who he was. Any of you who know Muhammad Abdullah of San Francisco, California, of Haywood, California, Muhammad Abdullah was W.F. Muhammad, W.D. Farad, Wallace D. Farad. All those names he used. The last name he used was Muhammad Abdullah. You think I told you that because I think that's going to do the job? No. I just wanted to share that information with you. I think it's time. He's gone. He's not, doesn't have to be put on the spot anymore. He's gone. And if I wanted to, with the passing of my father, I could have told most of his followers, the Al-Ghazali Muhammad followers, that I was W.D. Farad in the person. And they would have accepted it and followed me. And given me Savior Day's gifts, $100, three stars, $500, and $700, $1,000, 10 stars. You know, 1 star was $100. You gave $100, you got a star behind your name. I would have got hundreds of dollars, and donations and everything. I thank Allah that he didn't put it in my nature to be that kind of a person. And I hope he keeps me the way I am until I'm dead and gone back to the dirt, back to the earth, so I will have paradise. We have to stop just taking everything that people say to us, knowing that it's burdening our mind. We don't understand it, and they don't have the courage to question it. If something is burden in your mind or your heart, you're supposed to have the courage to question that. You know, Allah tells us in the Quran, and what the Prophet has told us, that he has given us instructions of guidance for all the important matters. Now, if we run into some problem for which we don't find guidance in Quran or in the teaching of the Prophet, Allah says, if it's troubling you in your heart or in your soul, then don't act on it, refuse it. God is saying that I have given you a human nature, a human morality, a human purity that will be disturbed by wrong in your heart and in your soul. And when that bothers you, then don't do that thing. Don't go along with what's bothering you. Reject what's bothering your soul. Reject what's bothering your heart. Reject it. So we are not entirely left to the resources of Quran and the life of Muhammad the Prophet. We also have as help from us the original human purity that Allah created every child, male and female with. That human purity will say, I can't stomach this fight right. It's not easy for me. Throw it out. Spit it up. Throw it out. Get it off of you. And another thing, returning to what I said, we have to stop just following things emotionally and because they appeal to us so strongly and believe in everything that outsiders tell us about ourselves. I love Farad. I'm indebted to Farad. I pray for his soul all the time. And I'll do it until I die. But I have learned from studying. My wife used to come downstairs and she said, Wallace, are you still up at this table? I said, why don't you go to bed? The day is breaking. I would have been there all day, the day before, all night. Now day is breaking. I'm still there studying and working. And I did that months and years. Shirley is my witness. I can't say my children because I did that when a lot of them were too young or he wasn't born. I did that. And I read a lot. And I came to believe that the only thing that Farad had was his own method. Only thing that he brought new to us was his own method of pulling things together that were already in existence. The belief that man was God, man is God, were already in existence. The idea of the grafting of the devil on the island of Patmos or Pilar was already existing, but in a different language. He just put it in another language. Same story, the same story, put in another language. And I can go on and on and on. The belief that we should have our own schools was already done by Booker T. Washington and others. The belief that along with education there should be military drill had already been established by Booker T. Washington at his institute. He had drills and explained why it was necessary to put it into the school curriculum. He had his students go through drill. They had to go through drill, just like we did in the FOI. They had to go through drill. And I can go on and on and on to show you. The idea of having a women unit and a male unit had already been done. There is what they call the Eastern Star, and what's the counterpart? Masons, that's right, Masons and the Eastern Star, men and another group of women, the Eastern Star, the women, right? If I remember it correctly. It's been a long time since I reviewed that. Yes. So all of these things had already been done, and that was a secret organization called my secret wisdom and secret organization, who had already had a unit for their women and a unit for their men. And we can go on and on and on. So this is no man that we should say is God just because he brings ideas like that. Look how long many of you have been following his idea. And you yet don't have parity with the people that you say is the devil. You don't have economic parity. You don't have political parity. You don't have industrial parity. You are still subject and dependent upon the people you call the devil. But look what happened in about 10 years in Arabia. Here's a man that brought Islam, and once it's in history, Islam, once it's in history, Muslim, whoever comes up with the same name again is just following or copying or responding or reacting to the one that was before. And look what example we have for achievement in the first Muslim, Muhammad the Prophet, in the history of man. The prayers and the peace be on him. Within about 10 years, he defeated the people of his own country, brought the whole country under Islam, and he became a competition or competitor in the group of nations or the powers of that time. He was so strong in about 10 years, that's all. About 11 years, he was only getting revelation and learning himself and introducing it gradually or slowly to a few members of his family and a few members in his association of friends. But when he went to Medina, upon the invitation of the people of Medina, they invited him to come there and practice this religion. Since your own countrymen, citizens of Mecca, don't like you and reject you, come to Medina, come to our city and practice your religion. We want this religion. We want you to come here. You can do it there. So he followed their invitation, and progress started. And it only, when he started to work to build the Islamic society, it only took about 10 years. And about 10 years, the whole of Arabia, his whole country, were brought under Islam. And not only that, he was negotiating with the powers of that day. Egypt, Persia, now called Iran, Egypt, Persia, Rome, or Europe. He was negotiating with them. And he had in his elite, or in his special group of special people, he had in his special group of special leaders, he had the black man from Africa. He had the brown man from Persia. And the white face from, where was that, sir? No, actually the white face was from Persia. From Persia. And, No. He had the brown man from Arabia. He had the white face from Persia. He had the black face from Africa. He had all of them in his leadership. He had all of them in his select leadership. And within about 10 years, Arabia was established for Islam, and those powers that were existing in that day could not defeat him. Could not defeat him in 10 years. Now here has been 1930, 1993, 63 years since Farad gave his teachings. And we have been trying to get a nation of our own. Those that stuck with it, I stopped. I came to know what my nation of my own is. is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. The nation of Muslims all over this planet. So, 63 years later, and all we have is bean fire, a few newspaper boys, some bow ties. I'm not doing this. I love those brothers. And they will tell you I love them. I know they follow other people. And when I meet them, I assalamu alaikum. If they return assalamu alaikum, me, I turn it. I say assalamu alaikum, I love them. I even buy the paper from them sometimes to help them get the weight off of them, get that quota off of them. I buy some of their papers. And I most certainly will buy the bean pie. I still love those bean pies. In fact, don't think we left bean pies. We have sisters in our group. In fact, anytime other groups want a challenge to see who makes the best bean pie, I'm ready for the challenge. When they want a challenge to see who can fix the best whiting, H&G or whiting fish, I'm ready for the challenge. If they want a challenge to see who could drill the best, I'm ready for the challenge. If they want a challenge to see who is best at the martial arts, I'm ready for the challenge. We have a martial arts brother in his weight. He is the champion of the world. That's a fact. He is champion of the world. He goes all over the different countries, America, Asia, everywhere. He's champion of the world in his weight. But that's not our big achievement. Our big achievement is what I want to bring your attention to now, another eye-opener. Allah tells us in this Quran, in the words of those that heard the call to Islam and accepted it, says, we have heard a caller calling to faith, F-A-I-T-H. We have heard a caller calling to faith, saying, the caller telling them, believe in your Lord. And we have believed. Now, our Prophet Muhammad, the prayers and peace be on him, when he had to contend with hypocrites in his day and time who were claiming to be the true Muslim. Now, isn't this something they never heard of Muslim until the Prophet brought it? And then they came in on it and said, we the true Muslim. In his day and time. So they built a mosque. These hypocrites actually built a mosque. And God revealed to Muhammad, Allah revealed to Muhammad to say to them, God and Allah saying. And Allah revealed to Muhammad in the Quran to tell his followers, in fact, it's God speaking to them. The revelation came by way of the angel Jibreel to Muhammad, and Muhammad spoke to the people, saying, the only mosque approved is that mosque that was built upon faith from the very beginning. From the very beginning. The term is taqwa. That was built from on the base, pardon me, not just built, but exercise, means its foundation. The foundation of that mosque was fear of God, regard for God, faith in God, from the very first day that it was built. Said, that's the only mosque acceptable for you to pray in. Now, God says also, see how the heavens, the sun, moon, stars, planets, and science tell us today, Jupiter's great, much, much bigger than Earth. Another planet, Jupiter, another one like this in the sky, belonging to our family of planets. Science tells us, astronomy and science tell us, much, much bigger than ours. Much, much heavier than ours. And Allah says, see how they appear to be held up in the sky without any visible support? Without any visible support? Now, we believe that our first ancestor was created really in heaven and then formed in the earth. Allah says, in the earth will be the place for your livelihood, the place where you will get all of your needs and fulfill all of your aspirations. But in this mortal flesh body, we have to get our livelihood, our sustenance, our needs, and grow and progress as human beings materially and spiritually and intellectually on this earth. We have to get that on earth. The earth will give us understanding for our mind, knowledge for our mind. The earth will give us knowledge for our mind. The material world will give us knowledge for our mind. The material world will give us food for our physical body. The material world will give us satisfaction, fulfillment, the satisfying of appetites that are in the body and even in the soul. The physical earth will give us food for that, and we will grow intellectually, and we will grow socially, and we will grow politically, etc., to reach the end, the destiny that God wants for us on this earth. We will even grow, if we obey God, we will grow to have a bit of presence, a bit of reality, a bit of presence, a bit of that blissful state we call heaven. In our religion, we believe that we get some of heaven while we live in this body on this earth. But not all of it. The fullness of that reward will not come on this earth. It will come only after our soul is relieved from this body and returns to the dimensions of the universe itself. And how am I? So are you authorized to tell us that our soul is going to return to the dimensions of the universe itself? Yes. God says the garden that he has prepared for us that we will have if we obey him and we return to him. Allah says the expanse, the space, the distance, the width, and the expanse of that space, that garden is as the skies and the earth, the whole universe. I'm not through. I'm just bringing information to reach my point, hopefully to reach my point. I return now to what God said. God says, look how the heavens, the skies, the bodies that you see up in the sky appear to be held up there without any visible support. And look how God tells us that the mosque, the congregation, must be based upon faith, must be based upon taqwa. Is taqwa something material? Is taqwa business? Is faith business? Is taqwa business? No. Is taqwa economics? No. Is taqwa politics? No. Taqwa is something that you have in your heart that we can't see with our physical eyes, but it forms a bond stronger than any steel can make, stronger than any granite can make, stronger than any material in the material world can make. The strongest bond that exists for any relationship is the bond of faith in God. It is such a powerful force. It is such a powerful attracting force that it holds up us, though we weigh the weight of Jupiter or we weigh the weight of Earth. I can hold myself in proper check and keep myself in proper relationship with my brother who has the weight of Jupiter and I have the weight of Earth. And we don't run into each other. We don't fall on each other. We don't get out of our places. We swirl around in the circle of Islam with all of this great weight. Why? Because our strongest bond is not material, it's faith, taqwa. Peace be unto you, God. Forgive us and guide us always. Assalamu alaikum.
Wisdom, where I work from then till now, but we cannot be stagnant, and we cannot allow fear and fame of others dictate how we raise and teach ourselves, but firstly our children. We have to accept responsibility, full responsibility, and stop trying to assimilate into lawlessness, ignorance, and then let other people come tell us and show us their intellectual propaganda to take us down some dark space. And I mean dark space. Right now, I got drop some hardcore rhythms and then I gone. Cause so me grow, so me stay. Can't change, won't change.
Oppression is what you make it. Life is so hard.
Yo, a man can try follow me, you know, but me not follow nobody. See, the Almighty is what inspires me most. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never give me this for though. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me life. I use my emotions, and my culture upbringing to bring the best of reggae music and its protest and its harmony to those who have understanding in them soul. Not those who are corrupted, those who have understanding. So if you want to follow me, learn from me, keep check me, because I grow with it. Me not pluck it. Me not follow nobody when it come to this music something here. I have my own Bible, the White Boy Bible of rhythms from Minto, Ska, Blue Beat, up to Dubwise. Listen me.
Oppression is what you make it. Life is so hard and tough.
And my mother backed me. You understand me? My mother backed me. Her son, she, my mother backed me. Oh.
Oppression is what you make it. Life is so hard and tough. If you don't change your ways, the penalty you must pay.
Mighty, mighty, mighty diamonds, yes.
Oppression is what you make it. Life is so hard and tough. If you don't change your ways, the penalty you must pay.
Azim, assalamu alaikum, man.
Your wide world in such a disgrace. All man can do is to mess up the place. From town to town, arcing up the place. Man gets so bad, but it's not all the while. Stand up to your judgment, for it's you who have made it. Stand up to your judgment, don't you run away. Stand up to your judgment, don't you run away. Yeah. Stand up to your judgment, do you hear what I say? Oppression is what you make it. Life is so hard and tough. If you don't change your way, then the penalty you must pay. Your wide world in such a disgrace. All mankind do is to mess up the place.
Yes, I was one of the first son of England played that on dub plate since 1975. Come. Yeah, we are going to start from the top and get rude. Cuss him. This is called moods. See? Rastafari moods. In a roots music, dubwise in a dance. Yeah.
People wanna cause. People wanna cause.
Me mama. Yo, you some boy them out there, so. Ain't try say nothing on YouTube about me, you know. Cause all the man them there, I even caveman, them a pluck, you know. Them a try something. And it's good them a try. But then wait till you ride die if you come try something. Them plucking. But give thanks still, you know. But they mustn't run up the mouth and chat and fire some shot because of some guy there in England. No, it don't work, so. Respect in a culture. Stop going like a vulture. Eh? I love it. Danny Drake. Shawise.
People wanna cause.
Respect.
People wanna cause.
Set the Tobies. Jump around, Rasta, jump. Yeah, man, jump. Bibo. Yo, Bubba Jet. Come in, Bubba.
People wanna cause. People wanna cause. Get out of my home, cause. Don't want it. Get out of my home, cause. I don't like it. Cause I yawn, cause I work, cause on the street. I hear everybody calling on my name. I just can't do it now. They will say I'm to blame.
Why, Bubba Jet?
Get out of my life with your fuss and fight. I don't want it. Get out of my life with your fuss and fight. I don't want it. Bad young, bad on the street. I work so hard and build.
Tipper to him. Come no, man. Osborne Road up, King Toby.
People wanna cause. People wanna cause.
Engineer.
People wanna cause.
Sleepy Harris Andy.
People wanna cause. Get out of my life with your fuss and fun.
How you mean?
Don't want it. Get out of my life with your fuss and fun. Don't need it.
Yeah, you see them youth there. The man are going with them thing and my chat from morning for 60 somebody years and people don't understand that, you know. And the generation of change and generation of change, them keep coming exciting the people, them fireman them. Keep coming excite the people, them emotion. And then when you hear the joke, nothing go on. Nothing has been happening. Huh? And then them start tell lie and call my imam hypocrite. Are you mad? Eh? Are you mad? Serious thing. Cry for you.
People wanna cuss. People wanna cuss. People wanna cuss. People wanna cuss. Get out of my life with a fuss and fun. I don't want it. Get out of my life with a fuss and fun.
Engineer,
Don't need it.
Osborne Ruddock, King Tubbies.
Get out of my life with a fuss and fun. Don't want it.
Waterhouse.
Get out of my life with a fuss and fun.
Firehouse.
Don't need it. Cuss, yeah. Cuss abroad. Cuss on the street. Everywhere I go, I see people. Cuss, you know, yeah. Get away with the fuss. Don't want it. Get out of my life with the fuss. Don't need it.
Yo, politician. King Tubbies.
Politician, you got a confusion. Politician, it a go cause a confusion. Some people running away, some not coming to stay.
Natty Bongo.
Some of them are running away, some not coming to stay. Politician, it cause a confusion.
So one time we play a song, Coxon sound and another song from Luton. Down there Dunstable all, you know. And my uncle tell me, say, don't make them man keep taking liberty, you know. Mash them. Oh.
1, 2,
Come.
2.
Yabby. King Tubbies. Engineer. Beside Quaker City, I was the next son. Eh? Run dubs of this tune and this rhythm track, man. I tell you. Yes, Pablo.
2, 1.
Augustus. Settle. It's a joke. I pray thee, oh Lord thy God, give and I the strength to live in this Iowa. Chant them down. People. So we give thanks and praise to the Almighty. So we should chant Rastafari, you know. I will say, I. Yeah. Sweet days, man. Yes, the years. Mashing. Me mama. Let off.
Say you know
Rasta youth them, you know. You think some artificial youth. Real things, man. Real deal.
There is a city far beyond the carrion, where there is no city wall. There is a free all around that city, outside the walls of Jerusalem.
Yeah, you see them time there? You see them young ladies that decide they want to become soul heads, them get frightened. Them get frightened. See it? Some of them complain, say, them ears are hurt, or them see the bass, I jerk them too much. Them lost what to do next, you see? So people open up them place, them some soul club them. And them gone across this. 6 months, a year, and you see them turn up back. Now we've lost them completely. You understand? The baseline. It's not like that's the only music I play now. But you see, we have to resurrect ourselves and go show us that we not sit down on the plantation and feel say we have comfort. Nah. It's an education, a spiritual education. Everything was orchestrated by us. Nobody else. Don't influence by no white boy. Strictly us. You see? Okay. So these next two tunes we are playing now, listen to every word, you know. Listen to the words, them. Serious thing. Come, politician. And we have some bad-minded people, them too. They're not also the pessimists. Listen good, man, and ladies. Listen. Yo, if y'all do your proper historical research, go into the, those who here in England, you know, go into the British Library. I say again, you know, go into the British Library, and then go down to the museum. And you see that the greater portion of our people, them, and this is not creating segregation, you know, or division. But the truth is the truth. And we should try and know it. You see a lot of Islamic, not Islamic, Arabic scribing and bits of wood and papyrus on clay tablets. Where you call them thing a slate. That was written, scribed across the Caribbean and even in this country by our ancestors. By our ancestors. You understand? And it has been preserved and still here. Now, who preserve it? The elements. And then somebody decide, yo, this thing in 100 years' time, 400 years' time, going to make so much or so valuable. No, it's the elements. Yeah? Yes, natural. Tree trunk, tree bark that them cut out. Huh? Remembering home. And then scribing Al-Fatiha, Al-Qudsi, Yasin, Al-Baqarah, Al-Mulk. And them, you know, these are surahs that seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's protection. And seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's glory. But most importantly, remembrance of who they were, who they are. And in that, they also read things about the loneliness. Yes. The things to them, do them fables, they like, the man them said, put something in a bottle and then throw it in the ocean, and that's how they devise posts. No. That's something silly. Huh? It's just that these people did not care about us as black people, African people. So they did not make it known to us. Like they didn't teach us in a day's education anything about Africa. Anything about ourselves. And the same people want to come tell us now that and things that we will say is affecting them, things that we will read is affecting them, and we must apologize, and we must go to special class learning about feelings, innuendos, and listen. Now them going to exploit our soul and our minds? What that? And this is the Defamation League. And them have the same thing here now. It's just because when I hear them silently listen to their radio stations when the day come and when they're discussing racism and so forth, it's always looking at how far we have reached and for us never to reach and never to be accepted in society. You know? But you see, a lot of dumb fools don't see it. They see it, but they refuse to see it. And then I'm wondering why they are graduated. Why did they spend so much time graduating and then apply for a job and then they got the job? So what happened to this confidence? It's not about letting our ancestors down, you know. It's about letting yourself and ourselves down. See? So things like that, we should be holding each other accountable. But we don't, because we're not organized. And we're not see through the same lens the fact that we need to structuralize ourselves and pay homage to our parents who was brought here by England after their conflicts among themselves to help rebuild their country and restore their infrastructures and get their civilization back in order. the social order back in order. And that same social order structure has been kicking us and demeaning us ever since. So, who is apologizing to who here? And now the children of the children of the children now come and somebody say Hebrew. They don't say nothing, you know. They don't say, yo, you white boy. They don't say nothing. They just look at this something here, Hebrew, look at this thing here, Israel, and they're questioning their curiosities. And other people are becoming offended. I'm telling you all, go to Africa and understand what it is that somebody is throwing at you, ragdoll and bone. Go Africa. Go to Africa, take a trip out, take a gap year, it's 3 months, go to Africa. The same way these people go around the world and call themselves archaeologists and everything and dig up people about the place and then go write book and everything, like they know the language, know the culture, know everything, and now they're changing the pharaohs them to look European and not even know they've been but they're getting good at it now. You understand? This is not good. It's not good. So this rhythm here, listen to every word, you know, carefully, cause that's all of us. We're dangerous. Low in self-esteem? Come, man. Seriously. And there's no others, you know. There's no others scribing. It's not that they were illiterate. It's not that they were illiterate. There's a lot of symbols from them, from us. But literature came from the Muslim. But there's a lot of symbols. From the Durgans, and from the Bantus, and from some others. And from some others. You just need to get the whole catalog and put it together and understand what they were implying. The greatest significance is between all of that is that the ones who are Muslims use the language or the alphabet, Arabic and Swahili. Yeah, oh yes, I should have started up there first. Come. I tell you, hypocrites.
gonna mash down principalities and wickedness. We are gonna tear down principalities and wickedness. For we've been suffering lot of starvation. For we've been suffering victimization. For we've been suffering great tribulation. We are gonna mash down principalities and wickedness. We are gonna tear down.
And this is Rasta, you know. See? And this is that Rasta that I deal with some King James things, you know. You understand? This Rasta look at look at their environment and listen to all those people who call themselves politicians and make promises or say things, and then look and wait for these things, and the seasons have passed, and we can monitor the seasons, and we give thanks to the seasons, and we go sow our seeds and reap something. And the politician verbal exchange no bear no fruit, no come to fruition. And what you get on the other side of that is licks. It's harsh talk and brutality. 3 years come, them did it again, and next phase come and say something much similar to the ones before. And you said, let me try this one. And it turned out the same way, and they just decide after a while, listen, they licks them too much. When I deal with none of them. You understand? But situation, conditions just got very hot. You understand? So a song like this is just saying, yo, we are suffering. Man are using brain now. In beat with, them are using brain. You want to make out say he's more educated than the next one. Then the structure them got angry with some Rastas. Cause them try to understand all the backside them know this and that. And them can pronounce the Queen's language so clearly. Yeah, you think it's a joke? A serious thing. So, oh my gosh, man, people. So, mental abuse. We went through a whole heap of that. By our own people, you know, mental abuse. So, discrimination and prejudice is all we know. And we are trying to change the people them who inflict and use those titles and those aggression on us. We are trying to change them and teach them love and sincerity and affection and trust and everything. And at the same time, we mentally abuse, victimize our children to make the children feel say there's going to be a change. So our children them grow up now wanting to be British, even though that some of them born here, but they want to be British, and them see themselves as more British than the British. And them get killed, them get mentally victimized, them get seduced, and them get dashed into prisons. And them get sectioned. And now some of them start doing research, and they are being told that they're anti-Semitic. and need to justify, and they're being told that that which they've read is fake. It's not true. It's untruth. So what did Trump say? Fake news. So you got to remember, say that his brother-in-law is one of them. So if our children are us now doing researches are taught something that happened historically in Europe that they've been teaching us all along, someone wants to erase it. So you have to go back now and remember a program, a series they had called The Prisoner. And them try for create a reality for the prisoner, Patrick McGowan. They try to create a reality for him. And no matter how them twist and turn, them create the scenery for these reality that they are imposing on him. And they couldn't break his mentality, his mental faculties. But sometimes you see that it's either him trick them or them trick him, because something's happened and you have to watch the thing till it finishes, and you realize that them both trick one another. and even us, the viewer, we get tricked too. Because when them take them down the Park Lane and the Regent's Park and all that, the thing say, yo, him get away. But then you look around at the scenery, there's no one there. But this little small, short man that just drive somehow. And then sometimes we think, say, yeah, I'm getting away because we see two bus move and bus and taxi. Only bus and taxi, we think, say, yeah, man, him there Western now, in Gateway, man, Central London. And where are the houses in Central London? There's no homesteads there. Oh, amazing, man, amazing. So, you have to go to Africa, you see Amharic, Arabic, Hebrew, Swahili. Yeah? So I don't understand, but I do. Not that I don't understand. Why do I say things like that, following the norm of the day? Are people who want to be us, and everything that them find us close to us, none of want to pull that from underneath our foot. And they want to inflict on our brains, our conscience, that these things are wrong, they're demeaning, and they will not have it. And then the same system here in England, as in America, the Puritans in America, is saying, yeah, they agree. So you see, all this time I try, some of us are push up themselves to assimilate and structuralize nothing for ourselves. Now we find ourselves feeling offended because there's enough place to go. There's enough space to go. Because you can't go to court. You can't try go to court. You have to have money and you're going to lose it too. And what you're charging them with? And in the same US, them have structures there that says never, never again. And what they will tolerate from what they will not tolerate. And in the institutions and in different states. So what have we been doing? You see now, this is no room for no argument shopping. This is no room for going Channel 4, BBC and all them things and have some discourse with anybody, because nobody now want no airtime for a person to discuss Semitic or anti-Semitic and everything with nobody. Them are going to tell you, say, if you do this and you do that, that's what you are, and we're not tolerating it, and that's it, clear. But then they might find one and two black jackass to have there that will sympathize with him and start crying. Start crying, and then start calling us demeaning words to appease the people they're with, are they working for, are they supporting? I saw things are run. It has been running and it's running again. Publicly. And they're making the news anchors them go against us. And even if they're not making them, they are going against us. So when our children them see their parents are people who profess themselves to be activists and Pan-Africans, etc., buckling up, what kind of influence do you think that is? What sign do you think that is? And these said people, you know what they're really doing? They've created a fence, an iron curtain around their children. So their children are not exposed to the real world, you know. Them live, but they're not exposed to that. Because they teach their children. And some of us need to go to institutions and see when they enter the institutions. Because they do not integrate in education with even the British children, let alone us. We're nobodies. I've worked in education for years. If those people have to come to general education, general college and so forth, it's when the damn college finish. And they're coming with their own tutors, because they only come to take a space, you know. Most of the time it's just to get a space or to utilize a space. Other time it is to utilize a science that they do not have in their particular area. See? And they got people who are training. So they get to do assessment training, in-hand training on the job by coming into this particular institution that's top within that field. But the space cannot be shared. It's got to be them and them alone. And England, this country, allows that. And make we see that we want, and we've been asking for African history for the longest of years. And we go through every corridor and we document it so much. And we even formulated many syllabus and hand in to whoever was education secretary then and so forth, whether it's labor and it has been done in my time and even before me. So I'm talking about what I witnessed, not what I heard. So if it's not a three-tier system here and we are in none of them, why do we celebrate all of that nonsense? Now our children, we have helped our children to become Three Lions followers. Some of them are vexed now because we are talking about the money for the rates, and them are talking about going to World Cup. And they're saying this is the chance for football to come home. Home, you know? So you see the problem. Then we have the feminist lot, women's lib, creating their nonsense only because our men have been disrespecting them. Our whole particular have changed and transformed us. And this is in academia, and then it comes back in the wider society. And then we're highly argumentative among ourselves, but we don't get together and discuss our needs and fully accept responsibility for developing those needs. And we know what they are. All of us do. But we sit back and say, nah, Father white boy gonna do it, provide it for us. So to stay in line is to deny us ourselves. And only when something hits our children or come on our doorstep that we start thinking like, wow, this is not good. Now, what is not good is that we don't do anything for ourselves. Other people give birth to children here. And coach and teach and instruct and inform their children of their ancestral heritage and culture and languages. Languages, you know, because maybe the father is this and the mother is that, or maybe they're both the same. Nevertheless, right? And then if they have a faith like Islam or Hindu or Buddhism and everything, they have to go there too. Us now, we're at Chat Africa. So what's the link? We've got the spiritual, we've got the DNA link. Huh? So what about the systematic link? What about that cultured, conscious, conscience link? That thing that we stick on that DNA. That means we have to learn something. Don't just look at the people. And if you like the songs that come from that particular tribe, say, yeah, that's nice. Or you like the food, that's nice. Or like a man, or you see two girls and you think, wow. But then, like my mother would say, there's a whole heap in the ocean there. And that ocean is huge. She had talked about millions. So stop getting excited by one look. Relax yourself. My mother talked like that. Yeah. So, mental seduction. It goes on, man. It goes on. Pragmatism. We have a whole heap of pragmatic friend them. Pragmatists. We have a lot of them friend, but we don't understand the definition. You see? And we have a lot of people that talk, even them say, diaspora them. Diaspora is them who are scattered across the earth. Hey, where we take things for granted, huh? And those people who are imposing themselves in our league, them capture areas. Hey, it's amazing. It's amazing. So let me say something to us now, so it goes to them too, and then you understand that Al-Islam is not no pushover something, you know. It is said that Allah's messenger, peace and blessing upon him, said that David, Dawood, supplication was that he said that he would say, "Oh Allah, I ask thee for thy love, the love of those who love thee, and deeds which will cause thee to attain love, thy love. O Allah, make thy love dearest to me and myself, my property, my family, and then cold water." So David, Dawood, seek the love of God and ask God to show him all for love and what is love, and bring it so close to him so that he will not have this stern feeling for impropriety and in family, and then water, then cold water, because I know so that the life can't go nowhere without water and oxygen. That's why I keep saying this. So it's the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing upon him. He's conveying to one of his Sahabis a question and about David, and he's telling him, the Prophet, what David supplicational prayer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God Almighty, what one of them on a day-by-day basis has been. Yeah? So some of us have shopping lists, and these people who call themselves Jew have shopping lists for wives, property, big money, and all kind of thing. And the next day, them say they want to win the lottery, they want this, and it continues, and it continues, and it continues. We are told, make the offering, the request, health, knowledge, and understanding. Finish. Knowledge of God and this earth. Understanding of our morality, and how to deal with each other. You understand? And then ask God to show his mercy and blessing on our souls. Because we haven't provided ourselves with anything. Everything that human beings have is what God gave it. Whether you believe in a God or not, everything that we have is what we find here. If we are good researchers, it's here. And without those two elements, water, oxygen and water, we're nobodies. We're dead. We won't exist. So if those things just, that's it. And before you turn on, you can't say, well, yo, look at the people in falling. No, we will be in that group. It won't be a minute to watch that one and say, yo, let me do something about it. You understand? So everything we have here on this earth, in this hemisphere and everything, is awarded unto us. You see? So that's how this thing go. But Muslims now, they should share these knowledges. Our people them should not have stiff necks and try read the Quran or inquire to Muslims about it, so they know so that Solomon, David, Isaac, and what's the other one name? Ishmael is our foreparents. And Abraham alayhi salam. And let them know we understand them, we know them. And we pray. And we make salutation and salawats to those individuals. Peace and blessing upon all of them. Make them know the great significance of them in our prayers. And why we celebrate them. And what was significance about them. Where all these other mythologies and this toxic stuff comes about. Whether it's from a white man, a black man, or whoever, it's causing problems. And it was inevitable that it's going to cause problems. Because who tell us that? The Prophet. And we have grown to see it. It's just coming around again. That means somewhere, somehow, we are close to so many things. But true, we don't come together as a people and reflect and assess and evaluate. We don't know how close or what is it that we are close to that becomes alarming to other people. It's not about Semitic. It's how close we are to something in numbers. And sometimes the research, they miss that one. Whatever angle it came from, they miss it. Because they have everything on a curfew. And why is all this conversation has been going on? They're kicking the hell out of our Palestinian brothers and sisters, men and women, elderly and young. with the new alliance government. So every time the major forces does be paying attention elsewhere, they just kick our brothers and sisters, elders and children facing. Kill them. Mash up the rebuilding that them just mash up the other day. People start rebuild, fix up the roads, fix back the sewage, the water, the electricity and everything, and the homes of some of the people them. And then they come back and just do the same thing again. Say, stop it from growing. Now look at the same thing with us. A victim of society, every now and again, them just pluck something. And we spend a hell of a lot of time trying to figure it out and discussing the pain and the misery, the trauma of discrimination and the prejudice and the racism and everything. And that stops us. And then it cools down again and we go back to playing amusement and so forth, and they tell us that you're the fastest person in the world and it continues, and then we're back to the graveyard or the police station, something. And then we behave like we don't have no economical sense, or we don't have no finance, and we do. And we earn it, and we make it for other than ourselves. And then we finish up crying out, wolf, wolf. And we want the owners of the wolf them to come and rescue us. What the ratted a foolishness that. Hey, so we are going, man. Mighty Diamonds come back again. So we're gone, you know. It's a good institution this evening. We're gone. And that person or those persons, and YouTube, I have to press some buttons to read what it is that you have said, but hopefully it's something beneficial and fruitful with no derogatory stuff. So I say, give thanks. Hold this guidance. We're gone. Oh, we have to get two tune.
Be still. Be still. Lord, oh, babe. Be still, my people, be still. For the devil is rising, he wants us to do his will. By filling our hearts with anger, he wants to divide and conquer. So be still, my people, be still. There is good, there is God in the hearts of everyone. By the way that reflects, you know it's.
You know what I wanted to say? Really? In this place called United Kingdom, there are some people that was the victims of society through this Bible thing and so forth. Some of them were called Puritans, some of them were called Quakers, all kind of different names. But nevertheless, they were victims, they were abused. And they find a way to leave here. And them tell their people, them all the ones them that agree with what they were doing, you know, they all have the same feelings. Because persecution, right, if a person didn't follow a particular way, right, that whoever is in charge of this God thing outside of the paganism, something, some of them got killed, some of them got roasted, some of them got drowned and everything. You understand? So this is England. This is English history. Them can't turn and tell me, say me a lie. It's only our own people turn and say that you misconstrued the something. And I don't know why they would say that, but then again, if their Rufus is roast breadfruit and coconut, they will say anything. Anyway, they left, they got some ships, and they went across the ocean. Not with Dawkins and all these others. Them just did a thing. And unlike Columbus, them drop on this place, North America. The Puritans, the Quakers, everybody. There's a number of titles that they all bear, you know, but they were not in disagreement, even though one was a Quaker and one was this, and you know what I mean. And then by the time them get there over the years, the Puritan become the name that they internationally accepted was Protestants, right? But these other people, them cross Rome, and they were still pining at everybody for whip everybody into shape. So some of them became Catholics years and years, much later down the road. My point is this: they did all of that, but then they went there and killed everything that never looked like them. And they joined in this kidnapping of us. Because the same ships and their colleagues from over Essa that found them and wanted to take charge of everything that they were trying to do on this land called America, that they finished up calling America. So their own people kept an eye on them and tried to whip some of them into shape. So they had a lot of problems still with them. But they joined them and go across to Africa and brought our ancestors to that America to help them build. Now, over the decades and decades and decades, they still had their feuds. And their feuds came to war. And then some of them were confident to enlist us in their group to fight against themselves. Father fight against son, son fight against uncle, and so forth. You know. These people. So when you hear Bob and project that thing about Buffalo Soldiers, it's because when he went and did his little work over there, sir, and meet up with X, Z, and Y and so forth, different pieces of literature, information pop off. And that's not a fable, that's a true thing. And we never turn the gun on the white man, you know. The white man that give we the gun until we shoot that one over there, sir. And that's what we did. So them know, right? Them know that we obey commands. But what they fear is that we might just get fed up and turn around and say, no. Because they know that there's 1 and 2 out of every 1,000 that's saying you're a fool. They know that. And that's what they're still scared of. They have this fear of. Where you think in American army, black man high in position, you know. And them feel good to keep them there because they know so that they're the 100% loyal servants. Are we analyzing ourselves? Are we assessing ourselves? And these Puritan ones know, and these Quakers and everyone, they're staunchly religious, elect. Them talk about God and Jesus and everything. And the ones that call Quaker, them still live the life that they wanted to live in England, in America, you know. And you have another one called, Amishes and everything. Them cultivate land, them weave cotton and everything. Yo, the independent body. Because them broke away from the real, the aggravated ones, them. Now, why am I saying this? The said people, them said, who are victims in the second European war. That mentality, that same people that I'm trying to describe now, is the same mentality them taking of Palestine. Them say that they are a chosen people of God. And them want somewhere for go. Now the Caucasus Mountain and Turkey and these places is where them is from. But yet still, England, the Balfour Agreement, arrangement, take them there, sir. And they don't show no human qualities because they're not what they perceiving or want people to perceive them to be. They don't know nothing about Musa, they don't know nothing about Solomon, they don't know nothing about the area that these people arrive from, and they don't know nothing about the true authentication of anything. And these jackass guys, them all say that them are support, they're the head, they want people to look at them as the head of Al-Islam. Do not say, show me, tell us anything feasibility. Because they need to justify feasibility to be. Anybody who wants to say them a bunny Israel, they need to do that. They need to do that. I just let it out the bag. That's the criterion. And they will fail to do it because they're not it. And even though them can go learn it, they know the consequences of being wrong. Not wrong to me or to somebody else, wrong to God. A God them I work with, that we work with, you know. And it's God that every human being on this earth fear. I don't care what name you want to call. Once it is the creator of all things, including human beings, ants, bees, everything. All of our souls are connected to it. And we have to bear witness to it. See, no one can escape. Say, it is better, and they don't want we to do that. And those who Britain put in the position of some Islamic whatever, they masquerade and make other people them feel say that they should not say anything. Them discuss Jesus all the time. And you cannot be a Muslim if you don't worship Jesus and everything. And nobody no Jesus in Islam. Nobody. No Muslim no Jesus. We hear, all Muslims hear that from Europeans. We don't know nothing about no Jesus. And everything that we know about the Jesus is what Europeans have. It's not what Allah give us. So stop it. Stop it. Stop it. And then the black man and woman out there who say lie, you know say me I say truth. Truth. If you are reading, if you are listening to those people who will give you an open checkbook, then you know so that you're wrong. You know you're wrong. So it's Allah you're supposed to fear, not the lust for their open checkbook. They've been sirening our women for decades. Yes, them sire them so them can stay within that region. They need at least 30% of melanin to continue to exist in that kitchen, that furnace. You're joking. Hey, yo, we know the biology, you know. Guidance, we're gone. YouTube. Yeah. Irvin, don't bother say anything no more, man. You don't have to play basketball no more. No. You don't have to, man. Just take your money and leave the people them in them thing. We learn a lot already. You don't. There's nothing for you to prove. Don't let them persecute you. No. Seriously, we beg you. You understand? Just done it, man. Done it. Anybody will say you're small and you run from. No, don't worry about that. You understand? We know that your sanity, we know that your morality and your sensibility is intact. If you don't keep it, they will make you mentally messed up, star. You even know what a ball is from what your fingers are. Seriously. You understand? Because that's the next thing, you know. The law can come grab you to right it and just tell us, take your mental asylum. You will never be anybody again. You understand? That's it. You're violating a lot of premise right now. And these people will hook, line, and sink that, man. It's called sectioning. Guidance, we're gone.
Pressure is what you make it. Life is so hard and tough. If you don't change your way, the penalty you must pay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm begging nobody for come follow me, you know, and my family in Al-Islam, you know. Just check it yourself. I don't check it by asking this body, that. Nah. Mm-mm. There's a book, the book called Quran. See, Muhammad Pictol and Yusuf Ali. It's in English. Read it. See, that's it. Muhammad Pictol is using the original English language, the English literature. See, the thous, and these, and everything. You know, that's it. They're both in English. But one is in the layman and one is in the Cambridge and Oxford. You know, they use that grammar style. You know, there's a word for that. You know, but that particular style is used in the Muhammad Pictol. Yeah. Okay. So don't be deterred by it. Just pick it up and read. Don't turn around and say Farrakhan said this and these that said this and that's your justification. No. Read what it is that the Quran is saying about all these prophets, what is being told to them, what is the instruction that God is giving to us, as well as the instruction he gave to that particular, in that particular time, to that particular messenger, and how that messenger convey and how the people them within that kingdom receive and adhere to or abstain from. You understand? That's it. So even Egypt here, when you look at Kemet, you see that Kemet was one of God's joy. Yes. But then you see that them start becoming stiff-necked. Yes. And him never just turn around and say, yo, I beat them. No. That's why the journey of Moses in there was just one of the journey. Because before Moses, it was Joseph, Yusuf alayhi salam. Did you know that, though? I think a lot of people don't recognize that, you know. They don't. Right? So there's so much. You understand? There's so much. And God is not racist and prejudiced and all of this thing. You understand? And he never said Noah, and then Noah get tipsy, sexually aroused, and everything that was a female, him just handle and so on. And then his sons, them saw his nakedness, laugh, this, that, and the other. But nobody not tell you so that he was pregnating. Oh, come on, right? And that never happened. So you have to ask yourself, where did who came up with these fictitious things? You understand? What Walt mind bought? You get the drift? Because some Walt-minded peoples put something that God never said and no prophet did in there. Them attack it. And what is it that you see in this society since you've been alive? Politician, bishop, listen, everybody are do something. The one them who say that them are celibate, they are liars. The one them who say them love this Jesus Christ more than them love themselves, they are liars. The one them who say that they will sacrifice themselves for the fear of God, they're liars. You understand? So where the teaching, where this thing that they get come from? Where you get it? So then you have to ask yourself, if God chose this person to do this and to carry this message, and this is how they act and react and go against the very grain of God, then how is it that God is admitting, and then when him choose somebody, them go against him? We're talking man here. You're not talking to God. Which part of the oxygen don't reach us? Stop it. Which part of the water don't reach us? Stop it. Which part of the wind is so severe and less severe? Hey, please. And the sun. Come on. So this is the firmaments. Have a look at it. Examine it very carefully. And do you see the animals, them revolting? Do you see them revolting? Join together and say, yeah, we're fed up with this thing, you know. Well, go upstairs and see this God. We don't like what I do. Have you seen that happen? Come on, please. So where did these fictitious, dirty stories come from? Saints and everything. Huh? God never said, listen, if you don't do this, this is what man is liable to do. They're saying that this is what he did. So he just rescued people. He cried because one of his sons never hear to him. And I plead with him, son, for come on the ark. And you're going to tell me, say that such a person, after all of this, and witness everything that the Almighty has told him, and he never had no reason throughout his life to have this type of thinking. And then soon as everything's supposed to be over, he went and have a party with himself and called the best sound system about Jamaica for come, and the top selectors, not even one, selectors for come and entertain him. And all me for come juice for him, but me not juice, me not juice alcohol. And then him get ranchy and everything, and then him sex every bloody thing. And here comes the new human family. And you have Ham, Sham, Japheth, and then out of that story now, we are say that this one that is being cursed by them and then by God becomes us. The black race, the African race. Are you crazy? When my mother, Hawa, was the first, and my father, Adam, was the first, and you're going to tell me say some wickedness come out now and God cuss me. Or cuss something there that brought about me. You're joking. And I'm lapping this thing up week after week, month after month, year after year, till I dead. And you're still going on with this nonsense. And Yeshua becomes, I don't know if Yeshua is Jesus, because why would they do that? A mother give birth to a child and then call the child Michael. And then somebody has come and call the child David, right? Or the child is branded David. Let alone that when we are their children, a slave, them take the children away from you. So even though this child come back, you think, say, is your child? No, you don't know. You would love to think it's your child. Because a woman give birth to a child, the slave plantation owner, the slave man, take the child and sell it to another set of people. All of those barbaric, wicked things have happened to us. Just think of that. And they do that with horses. Them a foal comes, the next stable up the road or something, them sire this one and everything. They're looking for a great stallion, so them can come and win the derby or whatever the stake is. The foal is paid for before it born, before it even get germinated. Cause them bring the mare over Essa for yes. So them did the same thing, and they're proud in America. There's some states them proud of the fact that they done that to us, and how much they used to make. So I'm saying, in a time like now, they don't want we to talk like that. The British don't turn around and say that you're Semitic. They just said that the freedom of speech, there is some vulgarity there and it needs to be toned down, and some humility needs to be amplified and so forth. And we can understand that. So then we lengthen the conversation, we lengthen the sentence and take the harsh words out. It's still got to be digested, but it will go down much smoother. And we understand that and we appreciate that. But then you got another set of people that say, no, we don't want you to say nothing, period. Problems, guidance.
Oppression is what you make it. Life is so hard and tough. If you don't change your way, the penalty you must pay. Such a disgrace. All mankind do is to mess up the place. From town to town, arson up the place.
He who fears to weep shall learn to be kind to those who weep. Again, he who fears to weep shall learn to be kind to those who weep. The greatest truth is honesty, and the greatest falsehood is dishonesty. Over, the greatest truth is honesty, and the greatest falsehood is dishonesty. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on my soul. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow you all to receive that which we are trying to project in truth, guidance.